Okay, so thank you for joining us. This is How to SEO Like a Pro. My name is David Walker. I'm Director of the Shasta-Cascade Small Business Development Center, and we're the ones putting this on for you. Our presenter is going to be Zack Barton. So we'll do a little bit of an intro, and then we'll turn it over to Zack. This is a free webinar, but that doesn't mean you don't have to sit through a commercial for a little bit here. The SBDC provides confidential, no-cost advisory services and training services. Our particular SBDC is located in Northern California. We cover Shasta and Trinity counties. However, if you're not in Shasta or Trinity County, there is an SBDC near you. There's nearly 1,000 centers across the USA, covering every county in the United States for a program of Cal Poly Humboldt, funded by the Small Business Administration and the California's Governor's Office of Business and Economic Development. So it's your tax dollars at work here. We provide, as I said, no-cost expert advice. This is most of our local team here in Shasta and Trinity counties. We also have another 4 dozen or so subject matter experts scattered throughout Northern California to help with any area of business you have. We probably got the answer if you have a question about your business. There is a disclaimer that this is what happens when you get attorneys involved. So if you ever get an attorney involved in your business, just beware. You probably have to go through something like this. I'm supposed to read this to you because some of you may be on a cell phone and you can't see it. So get ready. I've gotten pretty good and pretty quick at it, but we'll give it a shot here. The information provided in this webinar and any supplementary materials provided to registrants are intended for educational and informational purposes only and does not constitute professional, financial, or legal advice. No registrant should act or fail to act on the basis of any material contained in this webinar without obtaining proper financial, legal, or other professional advice specific to their situation. The Northern California Small Business Development Center and its hosts, the Cal Poly Humboldt Sponsored Programs Foundation, specifically disclaims any liability, loss, or risk, personal or otherwise, which is incurred as a consequence, directly or indirectly, of the use and application of any of the information presented in this webinar. So there. And I'm going to turn it over to Zack Barton now. Like I said, if you have any comments, put them in the chat. You will be getting a link to the recording, and we'll be emailing you a copy of the slides. Thanks a lot. If you need anything, put it in the chat. I'm watching.
Okay, thanks so much, David. Hopefully everybody can hear me okay. If not, just let me know. David, it sounded like you made it through that disclaimer. I think I counted 2 or 3 breaths, so that's pretty good. That's probably the best I've seen yet. So just so you have an idea of who you are hearing from before we get started, my name is Zack Barton. I have over 19 years of professional experience in web design, development, marketing, and branding, and a couple of similar hats. I worked about 6 years at an e-commerce agency and about 4 years for an internet retailer top 500 company, and then split off to start my own thing and built up a team around me. So that is called Barton Interactive, started in January of 2014. Had the privilege of serving clientele small and large, including Eddie Bauer, Wet Seal, Wells Fargo, The Vitamin Shoppe, T-Mobile, Ely Tahari, Skechers, and more. Before we begin, we'll just hit a quick agenda here so you have an idea of what we're looking at. So we are going to break this kind of into 2 halves, and one would be local SEO. In other words, an overview, why it matters, and some of the current best practices pertaining to local SEO or getting your business on search engines to get in front of people in your geographic area. And then the second half-ish will be national or international SEO, which would expand to, hey, if you're trying to get on search engine results pages for more of a national or international audience, that is the area that you would especially want to tune into. So, all right. So let's go ahead and begin. So 2023, So just to give you a little bit of historical context before we go jumping into the tips and whatnot, let's get a little bit of historical context under our belt. So if you've been following SEO at all, you may be new to it, but either way, if you were in it, you would know that, man, 2020, 2021, you're thinking SEO things are just chaotic right now. 2020 global pandemic, and then 2021 there is a flurry of Google updates, meaning they're updating their algorithm, they're updating their interfaces, and things are, if you're trying to keep up, it feels like you're on maybe riding a wild bull. It's a little tough to keep up. It's one of those fields that's just constantly evolving. So Google rolled out a major page experience update, and halfway through the year, they took direct aim at link spam in July. That was very, very jarring for a lot of businesses who thought, hey, I know how to trick Google. A lot of businesses, and we work with a lot of folks that are, only do white hat stuff, some gray area stuff, and some black stuff. But in terms of going against best practices in terms of service and things like that. But some folks said, you know what, they thought, well, the more links that are going to my website, the higher we're going to go in the search engine results pages, right? So they just started sticking links back to their website all over, and you couldn't go anywhere in the web for a while, for years, without seeing these links back to websites. And so Google said, right, enough of that. So pretty soon they cut that off. And without going further into that, I feel like we could just talk about that for an hour. But in 2022, the updates continued. And so far, they really actually appear to be increasing in 2023. So search engine results pages, when I say search engine results pages, I'm talking about when you do a Google search for something, or Bing or Yahoo. And on the search engine results page, that's, the results there, and you see the different individual search results. So we call those the search engine results pages, or SERPs. Anyways, those SERPs, those keep changing. And Google is now wanting higher quality pages, and they have this, what I think, 30-page document that defines the word quality, at least in their eyes, and tells you, hey, this is what you need to be doing. And then AI has taken center stage. So quite a bit to be dealing with and wrapping your head around in the world of SEO. So hopefully you're not sitting there saying, well, as long as I stick to SEO strategies from 20 years ago, we're fine. If so, it's time to leave those behind and really consider where we're at and what seems to be coming down the road. After having been in and around SEO for, I would say, approximately 15 years, here are what I would consider to be the current top tips for both local SEO and national SEO. So let's start with local SEO. Okay, but first, what the heck is that? What are we even talking about? According to Moz, a very trustworthy source and certainly an authority on this, local SEO is all about increasing search visibility for businesses that serve their communities face to face. These can be brick and mortar businesses with physical locations like a grocery store or dentist's office, or service area businesses that operate throughout a certain geographic area, like an electrician or a housekeeping company. And this includes everything from claiming a business listing to ensuring a franchise location appears in a local search on Google, or pick your favorite search engine. A process known as location data or citation management. It also extends to managing online ratings and reviews, local-centric social media engagement, and beyond. So in layman's terms, it's showing up on this screen. If you're a butcher and you live near wherever that is, I don't even know if that's in America. That looks British to me. Anyways, if you're a butcher and someone types in butcher on their phone, you want to show up in that local search pack. You want to show up in Google Maps then this section is for you. You might have a physical location, as those last couple of slides said, or you may just be, maybe you have a local cleaning company and you might have 1 or 2 cars or 10 cars with the car wrap around it, a branded, the branded car wraps, and you cruise around, you clean houses or whatever you do. You don't have a storefront. That's okay. You can still show up in these if you're not already. Okay. So is this this local SEO, and SEO being search engine optimization, if anybody didn't know that yet, is local SEO important in 2023? Well, here are a couple of stats that would probably point you to the answer to that. So 50% of people who did a local search on their phone went to a physical store within 1 day. 34% who did a search on a computer or tablet did the same. 18% of local mobile searches led to a sale within 1 day. 60% of American adults conduct searches for local services or product information on tablets and smartphones. I do that all the time. If we're going to go to a restaurant, I want to make sure they're open before we drive there, that kind of thing. 50% of searchers on their mobile phones who conduct local searches are looking for things like local business address. I think I personally probably tick that box. 78% of local-based searches on a mobile device end in purchases being made offline. So that's huge. And I think this is probably the last one. I don't want to drown you guys in stats here, but 71% of people who have been surveyed have said that they search for the location of a business in order to confirm its existence before they go there for a first-time visit. I think I do that as well. So enough of that. We know that local SEO, we know that it's important. We know that it's still relevant, even though it's 2023. Absolutely. Some might say probably more important than ever. So we know that it's important, but how do we actually do it? How do we actually compete with other businesses in doing this? And the answer that I would give would be by understanding Google's ranking signals and working to accommodate those as much as possible. So in other words, Google, they're not out there just handpicking who, the pecking order of who shows up in those local search results. There is a rhythm to that. There's rhyme to it. There's reason. And there are certain things called ranking signals that help determine which, first of all, whether you should show up or not, but second of all, where your business should show up in that local search pack. Does that make sense? Are you guys tracking with me? I'd love for you to chime in on the chat as I take a quick drink of water. Okay, we're going to keep moving here. So, got a quiet group. So here are, if you are wanting to compete on this level, if you're wanting to say, hey, what can I do to climb in the local search results? You would want to pay attention to this section. This is 10 basic local SEO ranking factors. Okay, it looks like a couple of people are chiming in. Keisha and Kieran, great. Thanks so much. Thanks so much for chiming in. So 10 basic local SEO ranking factors. So is this every single local SEO ranking factor? Probably not. But here are 10 that I would focus on, especially if you're just getting started. And if you've already started, you can possibly skip the first couple of these, but there should be some other ones that you can key in on, okay? So first of all, if you don't have one already, you want to claim your Google business profile, and that will get your business on Google Maps and the Google local search pack in general, okay? So this only takes a few minutes, at least initially. There are a couple other steps to it after that initial getting set up, but it's free. It doesn't cost you anything. So you could check our past webinars to get detailed steps on how to get started with that, or honestly, you could just simply search for Google Business Profile and follow the steps there. So what you're going to result in is, if you don't do anything at all, or if you only take that first step and then you never look at it again, your business could end up looking something like this one on the left. Okay, and this is in Google and in the local search results. Hopefully I blurred that out enough. But this is, I would say, probably a not so well kept Google business listing, and not here to shame anybody at all. But you don't want to aim for that. So what's wrong with that? It doesn't appear that the business has been claimed. There are 0 photos of that business other than the that automatic photo that probably Google took while driving by. And then when we look at the reviews, we have a 1 out of 5 and a 1.3 out of 5. And we have no description, we have no photos, we have bad ratings and reviews from the web, no Google reviews, and no address entered in. I don't know about you, but if I saw that, I would probably not really want to do business with them. Right? Not to sound mean, but that's really putting me off, and they really need to work on that a little bit. Whereas this one on the right, let's compare the two. This one has really nice photography, or at least if you're into that kind of thing. They have pretty solid ratings and reviews. They have their category set. They have a description set. They have their address in. They have their their hours of operation set. Everything's looking pretty good. So when I compare the two, I think the one on the right, now I don't really eat that kind of food a whole lot these days, but if I did, that would look real appealing to me. And the one on the left would kind of get a cringe face from me, okay? So you want to get on there, and you want to, like we just saw there, make sure you get some photos, if possible, original photos and nice looking ones if you can, onto your Google Business Profile. So preferably you would take photos of your location and your products and your staff, even with your customers if they give you permission. And this is really going to help lend credibility to your business and serve also as a local ranking signal. So Belle has a question, and I think we could probably pause and take that. So if your business is online only, if you're not only serving people in, sorry, Bill's question was, what do I do since my business is online only? So if you are serving people in your, mainly in your geographic area, in other words, like if you were a cleaning company where you're still serving people face to face and you just don't have a physical storefront, you can still get onto the Google My Business or Google Business Listings is what they keep changing the name of it, but you can still get on here, and I would recommend that you do. But if you're not serving people face to face, then I would say maybe stay tuned more for the second part of this webinar, which we'll be getting to fairly shortly, and that'll be more aiming at national and international SEO. I hope that's helpful to you, Belle. If I didn't answer your question, you can definitely let me know. Okay, so kind of going back to this, getting photos on your Google Business Profile, you want to be over here. You want to have a nice photo, preferably of the storefront, some inside, like I said. If you can, get the staff in there or clients, if they give you permission and things like that. You don't want to be this over here. This almost looks erroneous to me. Okay, number 3, number of positive reviews. So in addition to claiming your listing on review sites, you want to make sure that the majority of your reviews are positive. So obviously, if you're on if you have a Google business listing and you have 20 reviews and all but 5 of them are negative, I think there are some serious issues there, and that's going to be pushing people away, needless to say, probably. But according to Google, high quality reviews improve your business's visibility. So keep in mind that it's against Google's review policies to ask for reviews in exchange for something or to set up review stations. I am going to give you kind of just a bonus tip here. One of our clients, they have, in terms of local SEO, it's so important to them. And they know that one of the biggest ranking factors is this, the number of positive reviews. They take that so seriously that they actually put a link to review their business in the signature line of every single email that they send. That way they don't have to remember, it just goes out automatically. And because of that, they have more positive reviews. They have more reviews in general, most of them are positive, than any of their competitors in the whole entire state. Okay, so that is a good one to jot down if you're not doing something like that already. For 2 of our other clients, we've created, I don't have one with me, but Google review cards. Looks like a business card, but on the reverse side has a nice message thanking them, letting them know that the business would love for them to fill out even a 1-sentence review, and they can just scan the QR code to go do that. And that, of course, leads to more reviews. So boy, if you have any kind of evangelistic muscle in you, use that to get as many of these positive reviews as you can. Okay, and let's look at a really quick example. You guys up for helping me figure out which burger joint to eat at? We're going to look at 3 options here, and I'd love for you to chime in on the chat, letting me know which one of these you would eat at. You're going to have to leave your bias aside, because I'm sure that you are already biased between these 3 options, but let's pretend that you are visiting the United States. Let's, from another country, you really want to try, for some reason you're in Redding, California, you really want to try a cheeseburger for the first time. Okay. It's possible, right? And so let's pretend that you just Google cheeseburger near me or something along those lines, and you're looking at these top 3 options. So which one would you go with? So this first one is In-N-Out Burger. This is 4.6 stars out of 5, about 3,800 reviews. This next one is Five Guys, and it's 4.3 stars, about 460 reviews. And this last option would be Habit Burger, 4.5 stars, around 1,100 reviews. So which one would you choose? And I'm going to give you a moment to chime in. Okay. Thanks, Keisha. Keisha says In-N-Out Burger. Anybody else? So we have In-N-Out Burger, number 1, Five Guys, number 2, Habit Burger, number 3. Cool. Thanks for chiming in, guys. In-N-Out, perfect. Yep, that's exactly right. So, and again, we're not shaming these other businesses. They're fun. My family likes all 3, honestly. Thank you, Derek. But In-N-Out would win if we were those people who were only going by the numbers, right? So 4.6 is the average rating, and they happen to have way more reviews than anybody else. So, if you did work at Five Guys, and obviously if you were a manager of some sort, or the Habit, that might be a good move for you, is to try to get more reviews, right? In whatever way you can that doesn't violate the terms of service. Belle, thanks for chiming in with that. I almost every time, this has to be like the 5th time that we've done this example, something like that. Almost every time someone has a comment like this, So that's funny, but I would say that is a biased comment though. But we appreciate your feedback anyway. But I hear you. No, all three are great. Okay, moving on. Number 4, reviews with responses. So have you guys seen those businesses, and you might own a business that is like this, where you get a review, or there's a review on the Google business profile, but there's no response to it. Well, those responses are a known contributor also, or ranking factor to local SEO. So what do I mean by that? So let's say you are, let's see here, give me just one second. If you own the bike shop here and you have someone leaving this review for you, you want to be the person who is responding. You don't want to leave this unresponded to. Google's actually looking at those, and that is a ranking factor as well. Okay, moving on. Number 5, create a Facebook business page. So sometimes, I'll speak with business owners and they just do not want to do this, and I get it. That makes plenty of sense to me. From a local SEO perspective is the only perspective we're going to talk about here, but from that perspective, this is a good move for your business, however, okay? Because a lot of people do use Facebook as a search engine, and that's why it's on this list. Believe it or not, I know people think Facebook, just social media. People use that as a search engine as well. And again, this is local SEO, right? So believe it or not, Facebook does have a search bar on it, and people do search for stuff all the time. So keep that in mind. And if I were you, if you haven't already, make sure you create a business page, and yes, update it with your website, your hours, and a description. And those are important things. You don't want to just leave it completely bare. That would I don't think that's going to really help you much. But so social signals, in terms of a ranking factor like this in Google, this might have limited impact, but this could impact in another way in terms of social SEO. Okay, so here's a quick example. I'm not sure how this coffee shop is pronounced, but this must have done this after visiting Toronto in the last year or two. But anyway, so this is what you want your page to look like. Original photos, everything's filled out, the logo looks nice, you have your basic information in there. And you want to have consistent NAP. Does anybody know what NAP is? I'll be really happy and really kind of surprised if you already know what that is, but if so, chime in. So NAP, it looks like people are unfamiliar with that, and that's totally fine. Unless you're an SEO nerd, you probably haven't heard of NAP, a local SEO nerd, I would say. So that stands for name, address, phone number. And you want to make sure that that's consistent across all listings, including review sites, maps, social media. Google wants to make sure, and other search engines as well, they want to make sure that they're providing accurate information. So if you have a business name that says one thing on one site and it says another thing on another site, that's not sending very strong signals to Google. They want to be confident that they're giving the right business name and address and phone number and things like that. So an example would be, we just looked at that coffee shop. I think this is also it's on the same street, Yonge Street in Toronto. But let's look at this real quick. So just as a quick example, because what I said might sound a little bit, that might be a little bit hard to understand. So this is called IQ Offices. We'll ignore their reviews and ratings, but let's just look at the NAP information, name, address, phone number. So IQ Offices, here's their phone number, here is their address, okay? Now, if we look at it, oh shoot, I thought I had another one, I apologize. Nope, I take that back. Okay, I apologize. I thought I had another instance of this. Forgive me. I thought I had another screenshot where they actually didn't have the suite number in there. So that sounds so minor, right? But you want to make sure that name, address, phone number, you want to make sure that's consistent across the web as much as possible. So if you do end up getting any kind of local SEO software, we're not recommending that or recommending that you don't. But a lot of times that if you did, one of the biggest tools is they're checking for consistent NAP information across the web for you and letting you know of any places that don't match up. Okay. All right. So making sure that the business name, address, and phone number are exactly the same makes it easy for customers to connect with your business. And a quick example of that would be another one, I should say, would be Rose Famous Burger Joint in one place, and then Rose Burger Joint LLC in another. So those are slightly different. That's not going to help you. You want to make sure they're nice and uniform. All right, moving on. Mobile responsiveness. So Google's mobile first indexing, that's a thing that's rolled out in the last couple of years. What does that mean? It means that Google now looks at your website from a mobile device first, not desktop. In other words, when Google is crawling, they're searching the web, they're starting out with a mobile device. They want to make sure that your website is mobile friendly. It's 2023, so you are probably already on top of that, or you probably at least know that you should be on top of that. But if not, now is definitely the time. Google has been very clear about, I think maybe starting in 2018 or so, that if your website is not mobile friendly, that's going to hurt your, that's going to be harmful to your website in terms of being a ranking signal with Google. Okay. A quick example would be, these are two clients of our business. I blurred out the names and logos and stuff, but they both come to us recently for website redesigns because their websites are not mobile friendly. They're just real old sites, which in a way is great. I applaud that. In terms of stretching the dollar and keeping that website around for a long time, that's fantastic. But the one on the left, they recently told us we know we need a website redesign because we can see in our Google Analytics, we can see the traffic going down and down and down and down. And I'm not saying that can all be attributed to their website not being mobile friendly, because as you can see here for both of these sites, they're just showing the desktop version on the mobile device. But I would say that's they're certainly right. Like that's got to be at least a major contributor. Okay. Number 8, inbound links from local relevant sites. So links from local news sites, community blogs, and so forth prove that your site is trusted by your neighbors. Isn't that interesting? And so for this example, we used our SEO software and we just pulled up feastcoffee.com and checking on the backlinks to that website. You can see here's one right here highlighted in a red box. We just drew that on there. That's not part of the software, but this is visit reading.com. Awesome. That's a great site to be linking back to yours, right? And here's another one that's a local site. plantablereading.org. So that's just another local backlink, which is fantastic, right? So that sends good local SEO ranking signals as well. Okay, number 9 for local SEO. And we're going to just be reviewing 10 of these local SEO tips before we take a real quick pause and move on to national and international. So inbound using local and keyword and anchor text. What the heck am I talking about? So a wide range of inbound links from well-optimized sites. That's great, but what we call the holy grail in the SEO world anyway would be an inbound link from a high authority site using both your city or neighborhood and the main key term. Wow. So in other words, if you can picture this, and I think I have a screenshot in a second here, but if it wasn't just a link to your site from another site, but a link to your site that in that link text mentioned the city or neighborhood and the main key term, like maybe coffee shop or something like that, right? So here's an example I just pulled up. I just added this week also from the SEO software that we use. But group manufacturing, Rancho Cordova. So you got the business name in there, you have this keyword in there, and you have the city in there. So that's very, very good. And it also is a website with a high domain rating. So that we would call that a holy grail backlink, and that's excellent. Okay, last local SEO tip that we're going to chat through. I'll show you a screen full of a couple other ones that we don't have time to go through, but that I would also consider. So proximity to the searcher. This one almost should have been number one because it's one of the most important ones to Google. So proximity to the searcher, meaning that if I search for dentist near me, if there's a dentist 10 feet away from me, that's probably going to show up first on my phone, right? If there's a dentist across town, I might want that one to show up. Maybe that's my business. Maybe I own that dental practice. But because it's across town and there's 3 or 4 other ones closer to me, that one across town that might not show up as high up because I'm just, closer in proximity to these other ones. So obviously you can't optimize that, right? You can't just pick up and move your business all over the place for this. You're stationary, of course, but you want to just make sure that you have your Google Business Profile claimed. You want to make sure that you have consistent NAP information. That those things can be helpful, but it's really good to just keep this in mind. Okay, so here's a quick example. Dentist near me is just one of the first things that I always think of when I'm explaining this to people. So we have this one up top. We have 2 more down here, and searching from downtown Reading, those are probably the closest 3 or some of the closest 3. All right. Okay. So without taking time to go through 15 more, which I have, known local SEO ranking factors, I don't have time to go through all of these. But if you're like, hey, that other stuff, I've been doing that for years, give me some extra stuff. These right here are other tips that you can jot down, or you can take a screenshot, or it sounded like David said that we would be sending out the slide deck. So if you have already mastered all of those first 10 things and you're ready for the intermediate and advanced stuff, definitely take a look at this slide. And if you need me to come back to this, or if you need me to pause here, just holler in the chat, okay? Any local SEO questions while I catch my breath and grab a quick drink of water? Okay. Okay, David says that we will be sending the slide deck to everyone within a day or so. Excellent. Thank you, David. Very helpful. Anybody else? Okay. If any questions come to mind, feel free to throw them in the chat. Otherwise, we'll keep moving here. So part 2 would be national SEO, and could be international as well if that's who you're targeting with your business online. So why is SEO on a national level? Why is SEO important in 2023? And I saw a question just come up in the chat, and I will circle back to that. So why is SEO and on a national or international level important in 2023? I would answer this if I was, last night I was at a banquet for something for my wife's work. If I was at place like that and someone's like, hey, is SEO even important these days? I would probably answer with something like this. I would say, hey, the latest we know is there's 8.5 billion searches on Google every day. And there are things that can be done so your website appears in those 8.5 billion searches. There are things that can be done so your website ranks higher in those searches. And there are things that can be done or not done so your website falls in the ranks in those searches. You see a lot of updates happening with Google. And if you're not paying attention to those, and maybe your competitors are, or perhaps if you're following old irrelevant trends, you can be getting passed up. You could be wasting your time, wasting your dollars. You could be harming your business. Meanwhile, your competitors are potentially doing SEO properly and getting the customers that you're not. Maybe they're going for it and you're not, and they're getting clicks and you're not, etc. So yes, it's very important. And here's a quick example of how Google, the search results pages are changing so much, and if you think back to maybe 10, 15 years ago, is this what a search result page looked like? No, not at all. They now have, what's this on the right? They have a little Wikipedia definition. They have an images section. Down here, they have local water parks. I just searched for the word water park here. We have a couple of sponsored results. They now have their logos showing. We now have the local search pack, and I can go on and on and on, and we'll go more into that in a little bit, because this is now the main part of SEO, the national, the non-local stuff. So it's changed so much, and you absolutely want to be keeping up with that, at least to some degree, right? If it matters to your business. So we know that SEO is important, but how do we actually compete with other businesses? Very similar answer here. This is how I would answer that question. Very similar to my answer for the local SEO question that we asked at the beginning of that section, but we really want to understand Google's ranking signals, and we want to work to accommodate those if possible, or where possible, where it makes sense, right? And for some businesses, certain ones are going to make a lot of sense, and certain businesses, those are not going to be as important, because all businesses are different. Everybody's audiences are different. In general, these are some of what a lot of people would consider the main pillars of SEO, and we're going to go into some of these a bit. And high quality content, and makes sense to me why that's at the top. On-page SEO, in other words, optimizations that are happening on web pages individually. Effective keywords, some of these kind of overlap. Useful backlinks, not garbage backlinks, but legit backlinks. Website security. Some people forget that that's a ranking factor. Crawlability. What the heck does that mean? In other words, can search engines get to your site? Can they crawl it? Are there any issues there? Load speed. Do you have a super slow website? If so, that would be a hindrance. User engagement. Yes, Google is monitoring user engagement on your site. So if someone goes to your site, hates it, and leaves immediately, Google sees that. And you get enough of those, and Google starts to think certain things about your site. Site authority, what the heck does that mean? If I didn't already say it, site authority generally would have to do with how many high quality backlinks are pointing to your site, especially in comparison to the sites that you're competing against. I always liken this to if you walked into a party, and if there's one person standing by himself, and then there's one person standing over in a small group, and you're wondering which of those two people you go see, you can kind of assume that the one on the left, this is not that great of an analogy, I guess, but you can kind of assume that there's more authority there. There's more people wanting to hear from them. And Google, unfortunately, sees it as a popularity contest. And that is hugely important for your website in terms of ranking factors. Mobile friendliness, we've already talked about that. It's important on a national and international SEO level as well, user friendliness. And let's dive into these. But you know what? Actually, let's take that question. I think there was a question. Let's hit that before I forget. Will our SEO be negatively affected if our website is not ADA compliant? Really good question. Thanks so much for joining Caltech Security. You guys. I don't think so. That is, to my knowledge, ADA compliance is not a ranking factor. I'm not saying don't become ADA compliant, but I will say that after having been involved and around ADA compliance for a while, I can tell you that there are different levels of ADA compliance, and your business may or may not, or your organization may or may not need to be compliant, or at least on certain levels. If you're a school, there's a certain level that you would need to be at. And if you're a certain other kind of organization, but you would want to look that up first. And I think this is more between you and more of the law rather than, in Google's eyes, as far as I know. That's as far as I know. I hope that's helpful to you. Let's see here. Okay, you're very welcome. All right, so if I haven't emphasized it already, I think I already have, but the landscape is changing often in search. Here's a quote that I liked. Google has been hard at work. Changes in the algorithm, they're not lightening up. They seemingly increased in velocity instead. So why are they doing that? Why the heck is Google trying to do that? Anybody want to throw a guess out there in the chat? No pressure, but if you do, great. I'd love to hear from you. So they are, Google's changing things often. Do you think it's to punish us? As an SEO professional, sometimes it feels like I don't think that's the case at all. I think that honestly, they're just trying to keep up with their competitors. They're trying to. They're a business. They're trying to keep their customers happy, and their customers being people that open up the search engine and search. They're trying to keep up with the latest and greatest, and so yeah, they're constantly changing things, whether it's their algorithm or their user interface. They don't want people going on to Google and saying, boy, I hated this experience. They want the opposite. They want to be on the cutting edge and making their customers happy, just like a lot of businesses, right? But if you are left behind, if you're kind of just sticking with old practices, this is a screenshot of Google Analytics. You can see that this website here they were doing their darndest to do great SEO for a while, and they were stuck kind of in their old school ways. And what do you think happened here, or especially here? Well, they either let their foot off the gas, and you can see these visits dropping significantly. They either let their foot off the gas, which I don't think happened, or they decided to continue to do use old SEO strategies, regardless of what's happening and what's changing in Google, right? So different things roll out with Google, and maybe they're targeting link spam, or they're targeting poor content or things like that. And if you're still trying to go this route, that might not work for you anymore. So we're going to get more into that a little bit here. Another quote that I liked: we've always known that Google chases the searcher. Providing best-in-class search results is the core of their entire business. And links, content, technical SEO, and user experience will all likely still continue to matter in 2023. But consider this as well. Use AI creatively, but don't AI all the things. Because boy, I don't know if you are, is anybody out there getting into AI stuff and exploring that? The use of AI in SEO, that's been a controversial topic in 2022 and is likely to continue to divide SEOs in 2023. And when it comes to AI content, we know, you might not know this, but if you look at Google's guidelines, you'll know that it is not approved by Google's guidelines to just take AI, create content, and shove it onto your website to try to get this gigantic keyword-rich website. that goes against Google's terms of use. So hopefully it goes without saying that you should not use AI to create hundreds of pages of content for your site. That doesn't mean to say that you shouldn't use AI at all, though. Stick to using it to provide inspiration or just general research. But remember to manually fact check. Did anybody see some of the blunders from AI as ChatGPT kind of all of a sudden took the spotlight recently? If so, I'm curious to hear about it. But ChatGPT comes out and everybody's trying to use ChatGPT, and in these demos, Microsoft and Google both have these big blunders with that, which was very wild and uninspiring. I think everybody was feeling very inspired with AI and ChatGPT, and then all of a sudden they're seeing some really weird stuff come out from AI and ChatGPT, and getting a little bit squirmish. Okay, so let's talk about some SEO ranking factors. We're not going to do 10 of them. We're not going to do 25 of them. We're going to do 6. There are a lot of known ranking factors. We already looked at that wheel. Those are some of the most important pieces. Most SEO professionals would agree. We're going to focus on 6 because this webinar has to do with 2023. These are 6 really, really current ones, okay, that I would say that are very relevant. If you're trying to keep up with the times, pay attention to these, okay? So in 2023, unique images and video are increasingly important in SEO. Why would that be? So the founder of Search Engine Journal, great publication, said sites with unique images will see a large boost in image, product, and normal search. This is also a user behavior / intent reaction as younger users identify or resonate with unique lifestyle images and can instantly tell if something is real or staged. Notice how I kind of emphasize the word unique. Some of our clients, all they have is stock photos, and I don't want to poke fun at them or anything like that, but man, I will say this, and they know it too, it's really advantageous to have original photography, and if possible, professional photography on the website instead of using stock photos. It's not only helpful for the users of the website and more engaging and inspiring for them, but also for search engines. Because if Google says, "Oh, you're just using a stock photo here," they're not going to go, "Ooh, we better take that image and put that in our image search section." They might not include it at all. But if they see a unique photo, that's something that they're going to grab, and that's something that people might be able to find a little faster in the search engine. So image SEO is a thing, and nowadays video absolutely is a thing. Here's just a quick example. You guys may have seen this if you're in the Reading area. Is this a professional photo? It may be, it may not be. I don't know. I'm not here to critique it, but I will say that it is an original photo. This is certainly not a stock photo. And yes, that's going to help them in terms of their website visitors. And it's also going to help them in terms of image SEO, as I just mentioned. So the bigger image blocks are displayed now in the results for some queries. Think of picture the search engine results pages. You have the images in the search results now, as I showed several slides back. The boon of good image assets isn't limited to search engine results pages. Google Lens actually already does enable shoppers to look for a product using a photo on their device or found on a website, kind of a reverse image search. Does anybody use that? If so, let me know in the chat. But you can now use, looking at my phone here, there's a Google app that if you have that on your phone, you can actually do a reverse image search, or you could just go to their desktop site and use it there. Super fun, super cool. If we don't know what something is, like this can of LaCroix, if I didn't know what this was, I could take a picture of it, and Google would say, "Oh yeah, that's the black raspberry LaCroix. Here's where to buy it." Pretty fascinating, very helpful. Here's another example of unique imagery. And so yes, this helps in SEO, and yes, this helps in terms of user experience. Chris Haynes, senior SEO specialist at Ahrefs, had to say this about about this point. The rise of videos performance in the search engine results pages is hard to ignore now. I expect this trend to continue into 2023. The popularity of social media platforms like TikTok means that many people expect their content to be delivered in a short, digestible video format. So are we paying attention to that, or are we just going to ignore that? It's hard. It's not an easy thing to create amazing, quick, short videos and be able to plug them in. But people really, really seem to like those, and search engines are favoring those. So they continue to say, what's the best way to take advantage of this trend for 2023? Using written content to create videos can allow you to deliver new content assets efficiently in a way that is cost effective for your business. In other words, if you have a great article on your site, but there's no video, consider accompanying that article with a great video and respinning it, and watch the analytics and see what happens with the organic traffic on that. And here's just a quick screenshot I took in the last day or two of, I think I just searched for ferro rod fire starter. I'm into those outdoorsy shows for, camping and things like that. So there's basically a little stick that you can use to create, campfires or whatever. So yeah, even just searching for that, near the top of the search results, you see video search results. And aren't these search results looking so different from how they were, again, 10 or 15 years ago? There's products up here now. Here's a video in the search results. We got these logos here. We have images and ratings and reviews. Key moments in the video. How wild is that? It's good to keep up with this stuff, right? Okay, number 2 of 6 with the local SEO, with the national international ranking factors, SEO tips. So high quality content is still very relevant. This is such a basic one that I think it's often overlooked, and that's cringy to me. A lot of people want to beat the system, and what they should do is just focus on creating really high quality content on their websites. So many websites fail to create high quality content that their users and search engines love. Here's a good quote on this. So rather than adding hundreds of pages of generic content to the site, research the interests of your target audience, organize those, prioritize those, focus on the information that's really different from the others that maybe your competitors. Highlight what your specialty is in this topic area. Really go for that unique quality content that your users like. Recently, David, who's on this webinar he's hosting, and I were talking about YouTube thumbnails and a YouTube thumbnail template. And I came across, I really do like Backlinko. I think that's a fantastic site, but I came across this article from them and shared it with him as an example. And this is just 3 mobile screenshots of it. I'm not going to show 100 mobile screenshots of it. But it was such a high quality content page. I know I sound like a total nerd saying that, but boy, it had a great description, when to use it, why to use it. They included a template that you can download, and not only that, but in multiple formats. Here it is in Word, here it is as a Google Doc, here it is as a PDF, and it went on and on and on. I think they probably had a video on there. And it struck me so much this is so high quality of an article, kind of a page, that I actually bookmarked it as a reference for such a time as this, right? But this is the high quality kind of thing. And this is only the first few screenshots of the page. So no, this isn't the whole page, but this is just a quick example of, you really want to go for high quality here, right? Anyways, moving on. Quick quote on that I liked. Everything should be focused on the business and the customer needs, not robot needs. Again, all these people are trying to cheat the system or optimize for robots, but no, you want to be really optimizing for human beings, okay? We're not trying to trick Google here. So with this in mind, businesses must focus on having the best platforms for their niche, whether that's Shopify for e-commerce or Cloudflare for, we'll just say, speeding up your website, or accessibility tools for compliance. You want to be outshining those who you're competing against. SEO professionals should take control and work in coherence with another team to ensure proper architecture, coding, security, accessibility, user interface, user experience, and compliance. SEO, it's just no longer about driving traffic. And I feel like I have this conversation with people sometimes where they're expecting to hire an SEO team to just do some keyword research or something, and then all of a sudden that's a magic bullet and they're at the top of all the search results. SEO is kind of more overlapping than that. It bleeds into these other areas that are, people would not consider them as SEO areas, like security, for example, or accessibility, but they do end up affecting SEO, right? So they're SEO ranking factors, even though they're not really SEO things. Does that make sense? Number 3, websites, actually web pages. So there is a difference. Individual pages on a website often need to have what we call authority to compete in search engine results pages. What are we talking about there? I know I mentioned it earlier that authority is generally the number of, the quality and quantity of backlinks that point to a web page. Okay, so when it comes to backlinks, we're still seeing that they're still very important in 2023. They still bring your website pages authority in 2023. Google is still using them as a major ranking factor. Some studies show that this is the #1 ranking factor for national and international SEO, which is, I just paraphrased what that 3rd bullet point said there. And this is just a quick screenshot of In-N-Out Burger, plugging them into our SEO software. And you can see their authority or for their whole domain, and then also for just their homepage in particular. It's tied directly to the number of backlinks that are coming in and referring domains. But again, that doesn't mean go out there and get a bunch of ratty back alley backlinks that you just bought off of, some kid in a basement somewhere. No, they have to be legitimate backlinks. Okay. So importance of authority continued. So we're seeing that it's a lot harder now to get those quality backlinks. It is difficult to get other sites to link back to you legitimately. But yes, it's still important. It just kind of looks different now. Here's why it looks different now. So Google rolled out an algorithm update mid-2021 that was jarring to a lot of websites out there in terms of how much traffic they're getting from the web. So there's the Google link spam algorithm update that when that rolled out, Google basically said, all right, we're so tired of seeing these spammy links pointing to websites to supposedly increase their authority that we are no longer going to count those at all. Those are no longer going to help your site. Those may even hurt your site now. And so, boy, I hope you're not still trying to get tons of spammy backlinks, because that, if anything, is hurting your website and certainly wasting your time and possibly money. So don't do that, but do get really high quality backlinks. Number 4, just a couple left here. We're seeing that if sites have a lot of backlinks, they're going to tend to do better in the search engines. That kind of goes with number 3 a bit, and that they can go even further now if they're adding on top of that SEO keyword research. So we've seen sites with a lot of authority do great with when SEO keyword research and optimization takes place after they have some authority, okay? But if a site has no authority yet, we've seen firsthand from being in the trenches, it does not make sense to go for that SEO keyword research first. Did you catch that? So if you are here and you're like, hey, teach me how to do SEO keyword research, that's what I want, that's what I hear I need. True, if you've already gotten a bit of authority on your website, if you already have, if you're on equal playing grounds with those you're competing with in the search engine results pages in terms of authority, then yes, go for that SEO keyword research and optimization. So websites that are new to SEO should understand that obtaining high quality backlinks that are relevant would be one of the most important things to focus on in SEO. If they have that authority, they can now see fruit if they start optimizing their pages with proper SEO keyword research. If it's done right, we've seen web pages grow in organic traffic roughly 2 to 10%, 2 to 10 times their traffic every time, almost every time. So in other words, let's talk about a quick example here. If you have a web page that gets 2 people a month, and we do SEO keyword research, or you do SEO keyword research, and you optimize the page with that research. Oh, how exciting that the organic traffic has grown 2 to 10 times on that page. Well, 2 to 10 times, what did I say? 2 visitors a month. I think that's what I said. Oh man, that's getting us what? So now we're talking like 4 to 20 visitors per month on the page. That's really not that many visitors. Like that's a bump, but that's not that great. Which is why we say get your authority first, because if you had 1,000 visitors a day, or even 100 visitors a day on a page, now I can see that there being more return on investment for your keyword research. Because keyword research, at least to me, that takes at least 2 or 3 hours of work to optimize one page, to do the research and to optimize it, at least the way that I go about it. But so if doing that on a page, and the page has 100 visitors a month, well, hey, multiplying that by 2 or by 10, now we're talking. Now that will hopefully have some good return on investment for you. Okay. If that doesn't make sense, let me know in the chat, because I know this is a lot to wrap the head around if you're unfamiliar. So getting in publications is a great way to get some backlinks. Getting in articles, you want them to be high quality websites. It is difficult. There are ways to go about it though, but that really does move the needle. It earns authority. Okay, number 5, the importance of new search engine results page features. Shopify's director of SEO said, the search results have become increasingly rich in SERP features that significantly impact click-through rates. And I'm going to talk about that in a minute. You need to be able to measure that to spot opportunities and predict success. So here are a couple screenshots. These are from my phone in the last day or two. And if I search for deep dish pizza in Chicago, which is like heaven on earth to me. If I search for that, let's look at the search results here. So we have a sponsored, so we basically have an ad here, and then we have a local search pack here. And then we keep scrolling down, and we see this other kind of local result here. And then we see this this pack right here, more to ask. These other questions based on the question that you just had. And then, oh, here's one organic result. And then over here we have, Chicago style pizza, and this overview of Chicago style pizza, and the videos and Wikipedia, and what is this? And then now all of a sudden we see people also search for, and then these, and well, here's kind of an organic search result here. Time out. So 18 best deep dish pizza restaurants. And I'm not saying this is bad. I'm just saying, where are the organic search results? If all you're doing is relying on SEO keyword research, yikes, there so far have only been just a couple of spots that could potentially be considered organic results. A lot of these are just like, here's questions, here's more local searches, here are other things to search for, here's videos. Where it used to be the majority of the search engine results pages looked like what we see on the bottom right here. Now that is hardly what you see at all. Okay. And then a question came in, are you going to touch a bit on Google Ads, or would that be considered a different session? I would love to chat about that. We do not have space in this webinar for that, but great question. We may actually have, I believe we have some previous webinars recorded on that we've done in the last year or two, that I hope that those are helpful, or you can always reach out to us if you would like some guidance on that.
We do have some on Google Ads on our YouTube channel. We have a webinar, and I'll put a link to that in the chat.
Excellent. Thanks, David. Really helpful. And then just one last set of screenshots here. This is still that same search result page. So deep dish pizza in Chicago. So 3 screenshots, 3 more that we just looked at, and then here's 3 last ones, and that's going to be it here. But on this point, but where are the organic search results? They're nowhere to be found. So I mean, I guess these are organic search results sort of right here, but boy, it's nothing like it was 10 or 15 years ago. So if you're still sticking to those old strategies, that might not be as fruitful for you. Okay, thanks, David, for sharing that. Excellent. Okay, moving on to wrap up that point. I like this quote: greater SEO success comes by aligning strategies with the way people are currently using the web, not how they used to use the web 10 or 15 years ago, right? So when a potential customer Googles a query, they don't see the organic channel that much. That's what we just looked at. They see ads, they see videos, they see enhanced search features, and traditional organic listings now with an endless scroll on mobile devices. Success comes when people are looking at the search engine result page as one playing field to optimize for, not separate marketing channels. Okay. All right, this is going to be our last of the 6 pointers for national and international. So the importance of EAT, or EAT. If you know anything about EAT in the world of SEO, I'd love for you to drop it in the chat. Though I would be somewhat surprised, because I only hear SEO professionals talking about EAT, and of course hearing Google talk about EAT. So what the heck is EAT? Well, one way to think of it is content usefulness, but the acronym itself stands for expertise, authority, and trust. So the difference between ranking, the ranking pages and those that don't rank, often a specific type of content, reviews or phone numbers, videos, topics, etc., can illustrate what content searchers and therefore Google deem useful. So figuring this kind of stuff out and how to apply it to your site will not only be an SEO trend, not only for the foreseeable future, but going beyond that. So saying like, what is your audience looking for? Are they looking for certain topics? Are they looking for reviews? What are they looking for? And connecting with that and aiming to get in those advanced sections now, those new sections of the search engine results pages. So EAT is something that Google talks about. If you go to their blog, Google Search Central, you can just do a Google search for this, or you can take a screenshot or check out the slide deck when it arrives if you want to learn more about this. But Google tells you this is the kind of content that we want you to have on your website. Okay, and they really get specific. So if you wanted to go buy the book, well, Google does kind of spell it out for you, at least to some degree. SEMrush is another great source for learning SEO and kind of keeping up with the latest with it. But SEMrush has a great article on what the heck is EAT and how do we optimize for that. And then Search Engine Journal, who I already mentioned and gave a quick plug for, no affiliation. But they are also a great publication in terms of keeping up with SEO. They have a fantastic write-up on what is EAT, why does that matter to Google? So this is definitely a trend to consider if you are really focusing on SEO and you're taking it seriously, no matter your approach to SEO, understand how to demonstrate the appropriate level of EAT in your on-site content, your link building, your online PR, and your technical SEO. This doesn't mean you need to have a doctorate or be a subject matter expert if you have a shoe repair blog website. It doesn't mean that, but at least being or hiring a subject matter expert that can produce and edit or consults on content, that's it. Just not really an option these days. And I would totally agree with that, which is why I included that. But I can't tell you how many times folks have come to me and said, "Hey, here's what we have on our website," and they're sharing a website that has all these articles on it that are not really from the heart. They're not really, I would say, not all that helpful. They might not demonstrate expertise, authority, and trust, or maybe a little bit, but maybe they're dry. And so, will some traffic come in from those? Probably, if they're well written and keyword rich. But are they really going to convert into customers and clients? I don't think so. So at the very least, if you don't have someone on board, get a writer with passion for that subject matter. Okay. So one final takeaway, if you just sat through this and you're like, this is overwhelming, this is too much, I can't do all this stuff, I don't have time, I don't have energy for this, I don't have budget for it. If that is you, I have just one tip for you, and that would just be to do the basics really, really well. Okay, maybe just if you're going to block out everything else and just take one thing down, just if you're going to jot down just like a few words from this whole presentation, it would be just to do the basics really, really well. One of my favorite companies in SEO, they are the creators of the software that we use. It's probably some of the best known and loved SEO software that exists these days. Their brand ambassador said this, and I thought it was great to back up that statement, but it says, here's what I think people need to hear: ignore the trends. SEO professionals will have more success focusing on the basics, and that mostly involves content and links, internal links and external links. Write or record content that matches what people are searching for and covers the topic well. Add expert insights, link to and get links from other pages on your site, and promote your content. I see several trends continuing into next year, but again, I don't know that they're really useful for the majority of SEO professionals. So unless something is a particular issue for your site or a site you work on, then ignore the trends and get back to the basics and look for other opportunities to improve your site. So he's not saying follow best practices from 10 or 15 years ago. He's saying do the basics, do them really, really well. If you don't do anything else, that is, something that you want to take with you. Okay. All right. Well, thanks so much for hanging in there. That kind of concludes our tips. We do have space. We have a few minutes if anybody has any questions at this point. Okay, and it looks like David has added some links in there, so thanks so much for that. A presentation on Google Ads, another one on Google Ads, and a third one on Google Ads. So that should be helpful to the gal that requested that. Derek, you got it. Thanks so much for attending. Feel free to reach out if you have any other questions or anything.
I will say this, if you're in the Shasta, Trinity, Siskiyou County area, and you'd like to talk to Zack at no charge, just give us a call, contact us. Zack is one of our advisors that we provide to small businesses at no charge to you. You've paid for it with your tax dollars. Thank you for paying your taxes, by the way. And if you don't live, or if your company is not in this area, there's an SBDC near you, and they will likely have SEO experts on staff there as well. So, certainly reach out to them.
Thanks, David. Thanks for chiming in, guys. Derek, Kieran, really appreciate it. It's fun when we're able to kind of chat with you through these. Verita, hope I'm pronouncing that correctly. Yeah, thanks so much. Keisha, yeah, you bet. Thanks so much for joining us. Okay, I think that about wraps things up. So what we covered was, local SEO, what the heck is it, why it's important, tips on how to succeed. And then, of course, we talked about national and international SEO. What is that? Why is it important? And some basic tips on how to succeed in 2023. If you have any final questions, email those in. If not, that's okay. And then, David, do you want to take it from here?
Sure. This is our contact information. You can see a link there to our YouTube channel. I apologize that it's it is what it is there, but if you'll be getting copies of these slides, you'll have all of this information. We do have 260 some odd videos on our YouTube channel. I encourage you to check that out. You can always just go to YouTube and search for Shasta-Cascade SBDC, or Google search Shasta-Cascade SBDC YouTube, and it'll come up. And like I said, you have any questions, you can email Emily. If you're in our area, we can hook you up with Zach for some advising. And if not, find a local SBDC near you. It's like I keep saying, and like a really boring person, it's it's free to you. You've already paid for it with your taxes, so we're here to help. And yeah, that's all I got. If there's no more questions, we can end all of this, and you will be getting, again, a link to the video in the chat, and you will be getting copies of the slides.
Okay, thanks so much for joining us, everyone. Have a great rest of your day.